Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the session this afternoon. Have you had a good show so far? Has it been useful for you? Got some value out of it? Okay, well, we'll try not to screw that up then. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Neil Mason. I'm head of customer engagement at iGento. We're a digital intelligence platform enabling our customers and organizations to get a single view of their customers across digital devices and offline channels as well. And in the next 30 minutes or so, what we'd like to do between myself and Simon Wood from LV is really take you through a bit of a story, really, in terms of the evolution of multi-channel analytics and the ability to transform your understanding of your customers in order to provide them with a better experience. So I'm just going to start off really and tee it up. And then really hand over to Simon to let him tell you basically his story of the journey that LV have been on over the last 5 years or so, I think, since I've known them, to where they are today. And then I'll just come back at the end and wrap it up. Hopefully we'll have time for some questions, and if not, then we'll be around afterwards to pick up any questions that you might have. So essentially what we're talking about is the whole sort of challenges around understanding and developing really a sort of a joined up multi-channel customer experience, because a lot of organizations recognize that it's really important for them to have a multi-channel experience that makes sense to end users and customers, no matter what device they're using or which channel they're interacting on. You know, the vast majority in some recent research say, yeah, it's really important for my organization. And for some organizations, it's even what they espouse in terms of their brand value. So everyone, I think, recognizes the importance of a good multi-channel customer experience. But what are the barriers to actually achieving that? Well, the research also sheds some light on that. And when actually sort of people were asked, okay, so what are the barriers or what are the challenges you're facing within your organization in terms of actually being able to deliver and execute on a joined up multi-channel experience, a lot of them highlighted the challenge is essentially around the difficulty that they have in getting a complete view of all their customers' interactions and joining up and unifying that data together. And that's really what we're going to be talking about today, is how brands like LV are now doing that, and the benefits they're getting from that, and being able to deliver much better user and customer experiences across their various devices, brands, and portfolio of digital properties. But I think it's also useful just to sort of step back a bit. And what do we actually mean when we talk about multi-channel? Because I think in the sort of old days, in inverted commas, we used to think about multi-channel really just being the combination of the online world, which was predominantly sort of fixed site view of the world, and the offline view of the world. But over the last 2 to 3 years, I think the challenge has become a little bit more complex than that, because even within the online world, we effectively are in a situation where we're seeing proliferation of devices, so people using multiple digital devices. Everyone in this room, I suspect, uses multiple digital devices to interact with most of your brands that you use. And really the first challenge to be faced is really to get a single view of your customer interactions, your visitors' interactions across those multiple devices. What devices are they using to do what kind of tasks on your digital properties? And do they use different devices at different times of days to achieve different outcomes? The answer is most likely yes. So first of all, that's, if you like, chunking the problem down, the first problem that we've got to solve. And then the second problem then is really bringing that together with the offline channels, whether they be contact center channels or whether they be the branches or the stores, to get that single view of basically customer interaction across multiple devices and also across multiple channels. But I think the best way to really sort of illustrate that journey, as I said, is for me to hand over now to Simon Wood from LV. Simon is the Web Analytics Technology Manager at LV and has been sort of an integral part of the digital analytics team there for a number of years now. and essentially has been on this journey of actually understanding how to first of all measure interactions across multiple devices, use that to optimize the experience to the point where now they're really focused on customer centricity, bringing together all the digital data within the organization and integrating that increasingly with their contact center and call center and offline transactional data as well. So without further ado, I'll hand over to Simon and let him take you through that story.
Okay, so hi everyone. So my name is Simon Wood and I'm the technical manager on the web analytics team at LV. So my team basically look at the end-to-end customer journey to find ways of increasing conversion and also customer satisfaction. Today I'd like to talk to you about optimising the multi-channel customer journey at LV across our group websites and our online applications. So first of all, I want to clarify what kind of multi-channel means to us at LV. So at LV, we have a vision to become the UK's best loved insurer. To do this, we keep the customer at the heart of everything that we do. So imagine having all these tools available to us to be able to do that. So for example, we integrate our online customer data with our offline customer data. We also integrate our customer feedback data into everything that we do. So before we jump into multi-channel, we started with multi-device. So no surprise, we've seen massive increases in mobile traffic to LV over the last couple of years. Using the Igento data mart, we're able to segment this mobile traffic right down to specific device level. And this is really key for us to be able to understand the changing behaviours of our target customers. So we're able to see exactly which devices have been adopted by different profiles of customer. So the graph here on the slide shows that the traffic we see from smartphone customers tend to be from a younger demographic than that of tablet users. And the important thing for us is really how this is impacting our business. So once we looked at this, there were clear optimizations to be had. The graph on the left-hand side shows bounce rates for one of our online applications. And it was immediately clear that customers who used BlackBerry devices had a higher bounce rate than any other device used. The graph on the right shows the different stages of one of our online applications, and the conversion for iPhones is much lower than that of PC. Now this is obviously all these problems becoming more of a bigger issue for us because the proportion of mobile traffic is ever increasing. So this data has actually been taken right to the exec level at LV and has been used to steer our strategic direction of how our future websites and our online applications are designed and built. So just last month we launched a brand new brochure website which was responsibly designed and built, which allows for customers, no matter what device they use, to have a tailored user experience. So when we dug into the end-to-end mobile customer data, it was clear that customers were starting their quotes online applications using their smartphone or their tablet, but then choosing to come back and purchase via a desktop PC. Now, on the one hand, that's great because the customers remain loyal and they did come back and purchase. On the other hand, from a user experience point of view, it's not so good. So really, they should have been able to feel confident and able to complete their application using the initial device that they came to us with. So when we dug deeper into data, we also found that mobile customers were more likely to have to phone our contact centre and stop their online journey altogether. And this obviously had a massive impact on our operational efficiencies, with more resource being needed to take these additional calls. So using the Igento data mart allows us to integrate the online sales data with our mixed sales data to understand what the key drivers were in causing these customers to migrate offline. So once we had this data all available to us, we needed to get some actionable insight from it. Now we decided to use decision tree analysis to pull together all the different data points in the journey and also highlighting what those key drivers were. So we used the decision trees to pick out the top and also the worst performing segments. Now a can't go into exact details on what the rating factors we used were, but this is just an example tree that we can use here. So this is based on one variant, age, and you can see that the policy type C customers were the most likely to end their online journey and phone up using the contact centre. So when we applied the age variant, it was evident it was the over 65 age group which was driving that high mix ratio. The next example here is based on more than one variant. Now we're looking at age and also the value of the policy itself. So if we look at the first level here, policy A, so these types of customers are most likely to convert online. When we apply the first variant age, we know it's the age bracket between the 35 and 65-year-olds. And lastly, when we apply the policy value, we know that it's those policies that are under £400 which are most likely to convert online. So what does all that mean to us? Well, essentially this kind of analysis gives us two main things. It tells us who our worst performing segments are, so where do we need to focus attention and what needs optimising. Conversely, it also tells us what the best performance segments are, so where we should focus our attention on getting more of these types of customers. So we know that these customers convert well, so we want to get more of them through the door in the first place. So let's just recap what we've been doing at LV. So as I said, we do look at every aspect of the customer's end-to-end journey, and we keep the customer at the heart of our analysis at all times. So we look at the customer's lead into lv.com, so their referring keyword or the specific campaign. We look at the customer's landing page. This is their first impression of LV. We look at the customer's application process. So did they have a problem on the particular question of the application? Where do they exit the application? And we look at how the customer converted, so whether that was online or offline via our contact centre. And lastly, we also integrate our lifetime customer data into this mix. So we look at claims history, renewal rates, and also cancellation rates. And the power for us is really having this huge overview of the end-to-end customer and knowing exactly how that's impacting our business. So we can understand for a specific online campaign what the cancellation rate for that campaign is by integrating offline data. So to conclude from me, we continually review our own performance at LV, and we use eBenchmarkers data for this. Now, eBenchmarkers are a peer group monitoring, and they cover 98% of the insurance sector. So we know that we're outperforming the peer group. We're leading a group of over 50 insurers for top KPIs such as sale conversion, quote success, and also online marketing cost per sale. So hopefully you can see how joining up this data is really important for us and how it's helping our vision of becoming the UK's best loved insurer. So thanks very much. I'm now going to pass back over to Neil.
Okay, thanks, Simon. I think hopefully you can see from that story the benefit that companies like LV have got from joining up their multi-channel customer data. What I want to do really is just give you a little insight into sort of the under the hood, if you like, of the technology that's enabling those kind of analytics that companies like LV are doing today. Because by understanding every individual and their unique individual journeys, you can see that LV and other organisations are now able to be very specific in terms of the targeting of their marketing and also the focus of their experience management programs. As Simon demonstrated in that example there, identifying poor performing segments in terms of the channel mix, which segments are most likely to be deflecting into the offline channel and therefore increasing cost to serve, and then looking at the experience that those segments are having, or understanding which are the most valuable and profitable segments and understanding how you can acquire more of those types of customers. A fundamental real component of this is the need to really essentially understand, well, first of all, to capture and then to understand the complete online customer journey. Now, traditionally, most tracking systems use cookie-based mechanisms to track individuals' interactions with websites, and that is still quite often the case. But it can actually throw up some rather sort of difficult challenges in terms of understanding multi-device behavior. So, for example, if someone first interacts with your site on a laptop, then they will appear as a visitor in your analytics records. If that same person then, say, uses their iPad at some point later to carry on perhaps doing some research, what you have now, in a sense, is two cookie interactions, and so it looks like you've actually got two different visitors. And as you can see, that might carry on for a number of days. Products like insurance and other sort of considered retail products, there might be a number of different interactions leading up to an actual purchase. And at some point, perhaps the purchaser identifies themselves, they register, or they actually place an order. And once they've done that on a number of devices, then these records can effectively be consolidated. And actually, inherent within the platform that Argento provides is the ability to essentially consolidate different visitor records into the single notion of a customer. And not only do that going forward, but also to retrospectively view that going back in time as well. So that we begin to, for example, attribute the right kind of value to different marketing interactions, not based on a single cookie level view, but based on taking all their device interactions together as a whole. And as you can see in the examples that Simon was showing, understanding that multi-device journey and where that journey ends up is fundamentally important for their business case to actually have a much more responsive design set of applications built into their mobile strategy. But the question is always with these things, I'm actually an analyst by background, and so my two favorite words really are, so what? So what do we do about this? So what does this give us? Well, what it enables us and enables organizations using the platform to do is to really develop this notion of what we increasingly call the customer DNA, which is a sort of an understanding of the footprint, the digital footprint, and increasingly the non-digital footprint of interactions that a customer and visitor has with you over time. So understanding at an aggregate level all the content that they've been consuming, the kind of campaigns they tend to respond to, how often they've been, sort of classic sort of recency, frequency kind of metrics, their device profile, what kind of devices do they tend to use, what time of day do they tend to use them, are they actually interacting with you offline as well, are they using the contact center, for example, to service their account as well as their online side of things, and what is their overall customer lifetime value to them. And through different analytical approaches, you can begin to develop a much more insightful view, really, of your customer. You can create more, perhaps, kind of customer segments and understand those customer segments in ways that have perhaps been slightly difficult to do before. And for me, this is really the difference between the evolution of our space in terms of sort of the web analytics and digital analytics view of the world, where typically it was very online only. Metrics tended to be very aggregated in their reporting, total visits, page impressions, and the data tends historically to be very siloed as well. It's quite difficult to get at the underlying data to incorporate, for example, into your customer data warehouse. And that market is really still very much in the sort of the tracking sort of sense of the view. And what we are talking about is really moving to customer intelligence and digital customer intelligence, which is much more about being focused on individuals, about understanding individuals, both online and offline, interactions across multiple devices, and the technology provided in an open data architecture which allows you to import and export that data and integrate it easily with other data sources. So very much that digital intelligence space is the space that really sits between the web analytics sort of view of the world and the business intelligence and corporate data intelligence view of the world, and essentially allows organizations like LV and others to have that single digital customer view and integrate their data with their non-transactional systems to enhance and augment that digital customer view as well. So that's very much really what we wanted to share with you this afternoon, to say really just to show you some of the evolution in terms of digital tracking that's taking place in the market at the moment, very much moving away from just purely site-centric tracking and optimization to much more visitor and customer-centric view of the world, so that actually you can use that data within your marketing programs, your automation programs, your customer experience programs to first of all understand and therefore deliver much better experiences to your end customers. Thank you very much for your kind attention this afternoon.